They put out my eyes in Gaza, the same city whose gates I had carried 40 miles on my shoulders. I was brought back to it blind. There is something in that symmetry that I have had centuries to think about. A long time is all I've had. By the end of this story, you will understand what I finally understood in the dark. That the things God gives you are never really about you, and that sometimes it takes losing everything before you are quiet enough to hear that. Bronze fetters, a millstone, a prison floor. This is what the strongest man who ever lived came to. They made me grind grain, the work of oxen, the work of slaves. Round and round in the dark, with my hands on a millstone, my feet finding the same worn circle in the floor, day after day. I thought about a lot of things in that circle. The foxes, the jawbone, the gates. The way the Spirit used to arrive, without warning, without ceremony, and what it felt like when it left the same way. My father's face when I told him about the woman in Timnah, the look he wore. Delilah's voice, the ordinary sound of it. I ground grain, and I thought about all of it. For the first time in my life, with nowhere to go and nothing to convert it into, I just thought.
The prison did what nothing else in Samson's life had managed to do. It stopped him. Not his enemies, not his failures, not the losses. The prison. Forced stillness is a brutal teacher, but it is the only teacher that works on certain people. People who have spent their whole lives in motion, converting everything into action before it can become reflection. In the silence of that prison, with nowhere to go and nothing to prove, Samson encountered himself for the first time. Not the weapon, not the judge of Israel, not the man with the secret no one else knew. Just a man in the dark, with everything stripped away except the question he had been outrunning for 30 years. What was all of this actually for?
The hair grew back, slowly, in the dark. Nobody noticed. Nobody thought to check. I noticed. Every morning I ran my hand over my head and measured it. Not with hope exactly, more like paying attention to the only thing left that was mine. I didn't pray during this time, not properly. I just worked and thought and waited. I didn't know what I was waiting for, but something in me knew the story wasn't over. It had to mean something. All of it had to mean something. The day came when they brought me out. The Philistines were holding a great feast for their god, Dagon. Thousands of them in the temple, on the roof, celebrating my capture, celebrating what they had done to me. "Call for Samson," they said. "Let him entertain us." I heard them laughing. I let the servant lead me to the pillars, 2 of them, the ones that held the roof. I put one hand on each. The laughter continued above me. I stood there blind in the dark between 2 pillars, and I felt something I had not felt in a long time. Not the Spirit. Not yet. Just clarity. The kind that only comes after everything else has been taken.
This is the moment the entire story has been building toward. Not the strength, not the battles, not even the fall. This, a blind man standing in the dark, stripped of everything, the gift, the calling, the people, the pride, with nothing left except a question and 2 pillars. Samson had spent his whole life using the gift for himself, for revenge, for appetite, for the satisfaction of being the most dangerous thing in every room. Here, at the end, with nothing left to gain and nothing left to protect, for the first time in his life, he asked for the gift on behalf of something larger than himself. That is what makes this moment matter. Not the miracle that follows, the asking. Some people only find their actual purpose at the very bottom of everything else. It should not take that long, but for some of us, it does.
I prayed. The only real prayer of my life. God, remember me. Strengthen me just this once. Not because I deserve it. I know what I deserve. Not because I earned it. I know what I spent it on. Just remember me. Let me be what I was made to be one final time. Not for myself, for something that was never mine to keep. There was rage in it. I won't pretend otherwise. The darkness and the chains and the grinding, there was rage in every word. There was grief, too, for my eyes, for my father's face, for the years I spent running past every moment that could have mattered. And underneath the rage and the grief, surrender. Not the surrender of a man giving up. The surrender of a man who has finally stopped arguing with the shape of his own life. Let me die with the Philistines. I pushed. Both pillars. Everything I had. Everything I was. Everything the hair had grown back into in the dark of that prison. The roof came down. And I want to tell you what it felt like. It felt like the first moment in my life where my strength and my purpose were finally the same thing. All those years, all that power, all those fights I started and finished and walked away from alone. It was all supposed to end here. Not as punishment, as completion. The stone is falling now, and I can hear them, the thousands of them, and I am not afraid. I was born for war. I just finally understood which war. The last thing I feel is the weight of the roof and the absence of the chains, and something that takes me a long time to name because I have not felt it before. Peace.
More people died in Samson's death than in his life. The judges of Israel record this as his greatest act. Not the lion, not the jawbone, not the gates of Gaza. This, a blind man, 2 pillars, 1 honest prayer. The gift that was given before he was born was finally used for the purpose it was always meant for. He wasted most of it. That is true, and it should be said plainly. But he did not waste the end. Some lives are like that. Messy and destructive and harder than they needed to be. Redeemed not by their middle, but by their final moment of surrender. This is not a reason to waste your middle. It is a reason to know that the end is not written yet. Samson's story is not a story about strength. It is a story about what strength is actually for. And what happens when a person finally stops using their gift as a weapon against the world and offers it as something else entirely? The question is not whether you have a gift. The question is what you are doing with it, and whether you will need to lose everything before you find out.
That is my story. All of it. From the angel's words to my mother in a field, to the darkness under a falling roof in Gaza. Like, share, and subscribe. There is a one-pager free guide in the description below.